Have you ever imagined waking up in a hospital, looking at the bed, and realizing your body is there motionless, while you float above it? It sounds like a scene from a movie, but this is the true story of a man who lived minutes between life and death. He says he left his own body, observed every detail of the room, saw nurses running, heard voices around him, but couldn't understand how he was still conscious. What happened to him is known as a near-death experience, an intriguing phenomenon that raises questions, fear, and even hope in those who have been through something similar. Have you ever heard stories like this? Or even experienced something similar? What is most striking about these reports is the similarity between the descriptions. People who claim to float above their bodies, pass through walls, see intense lights and feel an inexplicable peace. Is this simply a product of a failing mind, or are we witnessing signs that consciousness extends beyond the physical body? This is one of the biggest questions in spirituality and science, and perhaps what you discover now will surprise you. Stay with me until the end, because this story will change how you view life, death, and what lies beyond. Stories like this are more common than we think, and each detail shared opens the door to profound reflections on our own existence. Get ready, because the journey that begins now is not just about a man in a hospital room, but about mysteries that could change the way we understand consciousness and eternity. The most striking thing is realizing that these experiences are not isolated cases, but rather stories that recur in different parts of the world, spanning cultures, ages, and beliefs. It's as if there were an invisible thread connecting each person who experienced this moment between life and death, a thread that makes us question whether there is something greater behind it all. And it's precisely at this point that I want to open up space for you, who are listening here. If this topic resonates with you, leave a comment with what has touched you most so far, or even if you've heard or experienced something similar. Each comment creates a powerful exchange and helps strengthen a community of people who are also searching for answers to such profound mysteries. And if this reflection has already sparked your curiosity or excitement, don't forget to leave a like, because it shows that this topic also resonates with you and motivates us to continue bringing stories like this. Your participation here is what makes this channel grow and reach more people who, like you, want to understand what lies beyond what meets the eye. And of course, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications, because that's the best way to not miss any content and follow along on this journey of discovery. After all, each story that reaches us is another piece in this great puzzle of spirituality, and what comes next may reveal even more layers of this mystery. In the cold silence of a hospital room, amid the sound of machines and the smell of medicine, a man hovered between life and death. His body was frail, attached to wires and monitors, while doctors and nurses raced against time to keep him stable. But amidst this tense scene, something happened that he could never explain with ordinary logic. Suddenly, he felt a lightness take over his being, as if an invisible force were pulling him out of himself. He looked down and with astonishment, realized he was still there, lying in bed, while a version of himself floated just above, observing every detail. What's most striking about this account is the clarity with which he describes the environment. The softly flickering fluorescent lights, the concentrated face of the nurse adjusting the the metallic sound of instruments being placed on the tray. Nothing escaped his notice. It was like watching a behind-the-scenes look at his own life, but from a perspective that science still struggles to explain. This feeling wasn't one of despair, but of a state of expanded awareness, where every detail seemed clearer than ever. Now I want to delve even deeper into this topic, because this isn't just an isolated episode. This type of experience invites us to reflect on the transformation that can occur in our mindset when we encounter the possibility that consciousness is not limited to the physical body. Imagine the impact this has on the way we make decisions, the way we view life, and even the value we place on the little things in our daily lives. It's as if a hidden truth is being revealed before our eyes, reminding us that life is a journey full of mysteries that don't fit into material logic alone. What this man experienced was not just a moment of fragility, but a portal of revelations that many describe with similar words: peace, lightness, clarity. Perhaps you've never experienced anything like this, but just hearing this kind of story makes us feel that there's something greater, something that connects us all to an invisible reality. And to reinforce this connection, comment, "That makes sense to me." He described that moment as something impossible to forget. As his body lay motionless on the bed, surrounded by machines and hurried voices, his consciousness seemed free, floating above it all. The vision was vivid, almost more real than reality itself. He could see the doctor's disheveled hair, the metallic gleam of the instruments, even a subtle stain on the hospital sheet. It was as if his senses had been heightened to an unimaginable level. The curious thing was that, even in the face of this tense scene, there was no fear. Instead, a sense of profound peace took over, as if he had found a space of absolute silence amidst the chaos. He says that, upon realizing his own body lying there, he felt a shock. It wasn't a dream, it wasn't a common illusion. It was like watching his own life from the outside, with a strange mix of familiarity and mystery. The feeling of weightlessness was so intense that any attempt to describe it seems inadequate. It was as if all worries had dissolved, and what remained was only a free consciousness, floating without limits. Many might call it a hallucination, but those who experience it speak with such strong conviction that it's hard to ignore. This experience has a direct impact on how we understand consciousness, and even how we conduct our personal journey. When someone feels so vividly that the mind can exist independently of the body, their mindset changes. Questions about purpose, important decisions, and even the true meaning of life begin to be seen in a new light. It's as if this kind of experience opens up the backstage of existence, revealing a hidden truth we rarely have the courage to face. What's even more striking about this account is the question that inevitably arises. Was it merely a hallucination caused by a brain in critical condition, or a true glimpse of what lies beyond death? This question haunts not only this man, but thousands of people who have had similar experiences. Science tries to explain this by saying that the brain, faced with a lack of oxygen, can create intense images and sensations, almost as if it were a defense mechanism. But why then do so many reports around the world provide nearly identical descriptions, even from people who have never met? How is it possible for someone to clearly describe details of their surroundings while unconscious, sometimes revealing things that were later confirmed by doctors or family members? It is at this point that reflection gains depth. For those who experience it, there is no doubt, it is more real than any dream or delusion. Many claim to have felt a peace they had never experienced in life, a sensation of being before something sacred, as if their consciousness had freed itself from the bonds of the body. This experience provokes such an intense transformation that it completely changes the person's mindset upon returning. From that moment on, everyday decisions seem to take on new weight, and even values change, because there is a realization that there is something beyond, something greater that cannot be ignored. Now I want to go even deeper into this topic, because when we look behind the scenes of these testimonies, we begin to see a pattern that points to powerful revelations. The impact lies not only in the experience itself, but in what it represents, an invitation to look at life differently, questioning hidden truths and exploring the journey of consciousness as if it were a still uncharted territory. This mystery is so fascinating that even the most skeptical find themselves challenged to find answers. Comment below, "This makes sense to me," if you also feel that there is something much bigger going on behind these reports. The most intriguing thing is realizing that this man is not alone in this experience. Similar accounts emerge from different parts of the world, spanning cultures, religions, and eras. People who have never met describe, with uncanny similarity, sensations of floating outside their bodies, observing their own lives from above, walking through walls, and even seeing a tunnel of light that seemed to lead them to another place. Some speak of encounters with deceased family members, others report spiritual presences that convey peace and comfort, while others describe the sensation of crossing invisible boundaries that separate life from death. The repetition of these elements does not seem coincidental, but rather a pattern that suggests something much deeper than mere figments of the mind. It is interesting to note that, in many of these testimonies, people report information that was later confirmed by third parties, such as conversations between doctors or events that occurred in the room while they were clinically unconscious. This generates an even greater impact, because it calls into question the explanation that it was all a delusion. When so many voices from different backgrounds describe such similar backstories, it gives the feeling that we are facing a revelation that goes beyond the realm of the individual. These collective accounts lead us to think about the journey of consciousness as something much greater than we imagine. They not only invite us to reflect on life after death, but also on the transformation these experiences provoke in those who return. Many claim to have changed their mindset, to value the present more, to make more conscious decisions, and to see life as a unique opportunity for growth. It's as if each experience is a reminder that the hidden truth about existence is still being revealed, piece by piece, through stories that defy our logic. When we hear so many stories that repeat themselves with such similar details, it's inevitable to wonder if we're not dealing with something much greater than mere coincidence. If different people in different times and places describe the same sensation of leaving their bodies, of passing through a tunnel of light, of encountering spiritual presences, or of experiencing an indescribable peace, perhaps this is more than a construct of the mind. Perhaps we are touching on a hidden truth, a revelation that points to the continuity of consciousness beyond physical boundaries. This possibility is not only fascinating but also transformative, because it changes the way we view life and death. When someone returns from an experience like this, they're rarely the same. Many report that they've come to appreciate each moment, that they've seen their decisions more clearly, and that they've understood the impact small choices have on their journey. It's as if the proximity of the end has revealed the backstage of existence, revealing that every gesture, every word, and every thought carries greater weight than we imagine. This realization awakens a new mindset, more conscious and more connected to something higher. Now I want to go even deeper into this subject, because the big question is not just whether to believe or doubt these accounts, but to understand what they mean for us. What can these stories teach us about how to live today? How can they inspire us to transform our outlook on life, our relationships, and even the purpose we seek? Perhaps the answer lies in accepting that we don't have all the explanations, but that the simple fact that so many people report such similar experiences is, in itself, an invitation to reflection. Comment there, "That makes sense to me." If you've made it this far, it's because this topic has touched you somewhere. And that's exactly why I want to invite you to continue this journey with me. Subscribe to the channel so you don't miss future content, because each new video is designed to bring reflections that truly make a difference in how we view life and all the mysteries that surround us. Take advantage and leave your like, because this simple gesture further strengthens the connection we created throughout this conversation and shows that it's worth continuing to bring stories like this. And to show that you stuck with me until the end, write in the comments, "I'm with you until the end." I'd love to know who stuck with me through this entire experience. And look, there's a video right here that complements this topic and will take you even deeper into these revelations. Click and stay with me there, because our conversation is just beginning.